are a brand, you are good enough, gosh darn it, and we want you to know that. We also want you to know if you are wondering what the right social media platform is for your influencer marketing objectives, we've got you covered now.
Hey, welcome to the Influencer Marketing Show. I am Joel.
I am a happy Brad.
We're coming at you hot and steamy from Detroit, talking about platforms. You're a brand, you're doing influencer marketing, you have questions about which platform is right for you, and by platform, we could say outlet. It's really like, which outlet mall do you drive to? Is it the Springfield Outlet Mall or the Shelbyville Outlet Mall?
Michigan City was my family growing up.
In this case, YouTube is clearly Springfield and Instagram is Shelbyville. So what platform? Do you do YouTube? Do you do Insta? Do you do TikTok? Do you do Twitch? Do you do others? Do you do blogs? Do you do podcasts? How do you decide? What's the matrix? Never fear, friends. We've got you covered. These are the questions that you need to ask in order to answer this question. And then at the end of this, if you go through our tried and true 1999 process, you're going to know which platforms are right for you. So,
That's
Brad.
Right. Well, first I got to say, you know I got a good one coming here.
I do.
Now I've set the expectations too high. But what we know is that you're going to have, let's just be honest, annoying people in your organization that are going to come up to you and say, hey, marketing leader, I've heard, TikTok is really where it's at.
Really hot.
Why are we doing stuff on TikTok right now?
All the young kids are there.
Yes.
My daughter is on TikTok. That's the most, like some executive is like, my daughter's on TikTok.
Oh.
What are we doing there?
We've walked the show floor at VidCon, the big YouTube conference, with an executive and their child. And then we ran with them because it feels good. But this isn't actually that unusual. We see this empire building stuff happen with NPR too all the time. Like executives are listening to NPR and like, we should advertise on
I'd
NPR.
like to hear my brand on this.
Golly, let me talk to my marketing person and see if they can fix something up for us on NPR. So first, try to forget that noise and let us arm you so you can fight that. We're going to give you a saber, so to speak. All right, let's just get into it. Okay, so first thing, before we get into any platforms, should we give them a lay of the land, Bruce?
Yeah, indeed. What's the matrix that they should be looking for?
Okay.
First one, the continuum. Ready? Full funnel or a specific narrow part of the funnel? How you answer that question is going to help determine which platform. Are you going for full funnel activity? Is it one part branding? Is it consideration? Is it acquisition? Or some kind of very clearly set, definable action? How you answer that is going to determine which platforms. Some platforms are better than others. What is another question?
Well, I can't resist going deeper here. So,
sure.
I mean, spoiler alert, influencer marketing is best as a full funnel marketing activity. So you can be successful looking at it from a branding or a direct response. I know a lot of brands out there are structurally set up. So it's like, we have a direct response team and we have a branding team, so it can be tough. But to really optimize influencer, you need to look across the whole platform. So that should inform some of your decision making. Anyways, that was too much. You were asking me a question, which is, what was the next question that a brand should be thinking about?
Well, yeah, and this is all under the the full funnel. But what are you using this to build brand perception? Which is fine. Yep. But you need to answer that question. Is this only about conversions, or are you building this, or are you wanting to get a more engaged user on? So, I mean, honestly, it sounds so rudimentary, but it's actually not. And it's shocking to us how many highly sophisticated marketing companies have not answered the funnel questions about why they want this.
It's true.
But if you answer that, then the platforms become clear. But we spend a whole lot of time banding about platforms, having never answered the thing that's going to tell us which platforms are better.
Exactly. The other element is, are you willing to let go of the creative process? Because that helps to dictate what platforms make the most sense as well. Because some brands are like, hey, I want to make sure we can tell, quote unquote, influencer, it's really more of a social personality in that realm than an influencer, to tell them what to do, how to act, how to hold the bag of food, or wear the certain pair of shoes or sunglasses or whatever the case may be. If you want to do that, that is available to you, but it's going to impact what the right platforms for you will be and where that content comes to be viewed by different audiences.
Yep, indeed. Okay, so let's go through kind of each individual platform, and we'll try to be very quick.
Yes.
That's somewhat optimistic, but what's good for what? So YouTube. What's YouTube good for?
I love YouTube for conversions, and the reason I say that is because when you're watching YouTube, like right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably not walking to the bathroom like you would be if you were watching a piece of content for 10 seconds on Instagram. On YouTube, people generally have a little bit more time. Yes, it's still a lot of mobile viewing, but there's more desktop viewing. People are willing to kind of go and meander a little bit more on YouTube. And because of that, people actually have the time to take up your brand's call to action. So when you're doing influencer on YouTube, there's going to be a clickable link, or there sure as heck should be a clickable link. And your viewers are going to have more time to do that, and therefore the conversion rate is going to be higher. So the timing is important from that perspective, but also there's just better storytelling on YouTube than some of the other platforms. That's my point of view. What's your point of view with respect to YouTube?
I would agree. It's if your product requires any degree of explanation, and it's not a super visual product, you need to be on YouTube because you're going to need someone talking about it, and you're going to need someone talking about it who's more engaging than you are, which is why you're doing this. So yeah, I mean, again, all of these are full funnel, but yes, I'm with you on YouTube for conversions. I'm with you on explanation. YouTube, I would look to YouTube less if I want to define my brand by a certain creator's motif and aura and brand and feel and all that. There are other platforms, which leads me to the next platform is Instagram. Instagram, what are you good for?
Yeah, you know, what is Instagram anyways?
What is Instagram anyways? It's an app, but are there definable marketing channels within Instagram where one of these is not like the other?
Yes.
That was super good.
Wow. But
you're like, did we really need to do all that?
No, it's like, wow, this is getting deep. And Instagram is not deep. It is shallow, people. That's what you need to know. But no, Instagram, look, you've got IGTV, you've got Reels, you've got stories, you've got static posts, you've got videos, you've got carousel posts. Yep. So when you say, oh, what should we be doing on Instagram? It's like, what do you mean when it comes to Instagram? So I will share one fact, one belief in terms of what you should think about for part of the stack inside of Instagram, and that is you can get reasonably low CPMs when you're looking at Instagram stories. So you're not going to get as much action on that as you would at some other video platforms, but it's good for branding. And like Joel said, you are sort of more capitalizing on that aura of the influencer in terms of your prestige or the vibe of that creator than some other platforms.
Yep. Next point. Next thing Instagram is good for. Instagram is good for micro campaigns where you're using a platform for execution.
Yes.
These are smaller creators. You're not going to build a long-term relationship with them. And often you're simply product seeding. Insta is great for that.
Yeah.
Where not a lot of brand control. You don't really care what they're saying, but you want that person that has 200 friends talking about it. And so Instagram is far better than YouTube for that. It is far more scalable on the micro or nano influencer.
Particularly if you're using static posts, because video it's much harder to evaluate and to make brand safe. But static posts are much easier. So if you're doing micro influencers, you could even you can look at their photos very easily and approve it in a way that makes it really effective and I think really powerful in all honesty.
Next thing that Instagram related to that is good for is UGC. Better than YouTube, better than other platforms. Use Instagram for UGC. Again, there are companies that are experts in that, but that's where we would go. All right, anything else we want to say about Instagram?
I think Instagram can be really good as a gateway drug into paid social as well. So influencer paid social can be effective on Instagram and Facebook. By now, you know all about iOS 14, so it's harder to do that in a privacy-driven world, but it still can be effective, particularly if you're using influencers for listing. We call it influencer paid social. It's all the same thing. Ultimately, the ad is coming from the influencer account as opposed to your brands. So if you're starting with the content on Instagram, that can be effective as well. The final thing I would add here is Reels and TV are a bit of the wild, wild west. So if you're looking for more longer form content at lower CPMs, that's available to you, but the audience is pretty hit or miss, and I would recommend that as only a test. I wouldn't recommend making a big bet at this stage.
It's fun to experiment with, but we just don't know enough to be able to scale effectively there. Okay, next up. You want
TikTok, you do it.
TikTok. It's interesting. It's hip right now. Ridiculously low CPMs for we don't know how long. It won't stay this way, but getting into TikTok right now is a really, really worthwhile endeavor. It's odd that for all of the hubbub around TikTok, I think it's actually less toxic than a lot of other platforms.
It's a positive platform.
It's a positive platform.
I can't believe we're saying that, but it is.
It's done a good job of not just getting sucked into like tribal political debates as like, Twitter. That's where Twitter lives right now.
Facebook
and Facebook too. They cannot get out. And frankly, I think they dug themselves into that hole because of the way that they structured their algorithm. And now they can't get out of it.
Speaking of algorithm,
they don't know what to do. But TikTok is avoiding that to their credit.
I agree. No, excuse me. But on TikTok, it really is fantastic for brands who want to work with creators and have a chance for some of that content to go more viral because the algorithm is so content-based. Whereas let's just pick on YouTube for a second. YouTube is more creator-based and like, hey, how is the creator done? And then yes, you're going to have peaks and valleys based upon the content. But for TikTok, it's content first. So you can see creators who are reasonably small, brand has a partnership with them. TikTok has a ton of creativity, things that are peppy, memorable. I can't believe I used the word peppy, but TikTok can be really effective for getting a big reach with smaller creators. So there's some pretty nice upside with TikTok, and also like the very first point you made, the CPMs are really low on TikTok.
For now.
Yes, that will change.
Okay, Twitch. Go.
Yeah. Twitch is a fascinating live streaming platform. It's still a gaming platform. Yes, they're doing a lot to expand away from that with cooking and other things, but for now, think about it as a gateway to gaming. Twitch can get you into a huge world of gaming with some credibility when you're partnering with the right streamers. It's tough because it is live streaming. Getting concurrent viewers, meaning the viewers at the same time, to be high enough where it's effective use of budget is really challenging. And frankly, if you're looking to try to drive conversions on a cost per acquisition or cost per view basis, Twitch really isn't the right platform for that. We've experimented multiple times, but if you're trying to get into gaming and you're using Twitch as part of a multi-pronged approach, it can be really fantastic. People who are watching Twitch are hyper engaged. They're actually literally giving money to the hosts of the show or the channel as they're watching it. They're commenting nonstop. Twitch is very engaged of an audience, so it can be really fun to try to help the brand out. But beware in terms of what you're going to be able to see on a conversion basis on a one-off.
Here's what you need to. This is how you need to imagine Twitch. Twitch is a foreign alien species on another planet.
Yes.
You've got to get to the planet, which means you've got to do all the engineering and all that to get there. You need a rocket ship. You need to land safely, and then you need to figure out a way to actually gain acceptance by the tribe. You got to do all that, and so Twitch is not for the faint-hearted. No. There could be even a time where the tribe is hostile to your brand, and your social listening guys are like, "What's going on?
These guys
don't like us." If you push through that and you actually gain acceptance, it's incredibly valuable because you've just gained acceptance with a very tech-savvy, household income tends to skew higher than other demographics. Yes. They're smart, they're evangelistic, they are sticky, they are brand loyal.
Absolutely.
You get acceptance into that audience. It is very, very worthwhile. It's no light matter gaining that acceptance. But that's how you have to think about it,
Right.
because there's a whole lot involved. You can't do it casually at all. All right, any others that we want to touch on?
I think those are the big ones. I mean, certainly podcasts playing a role. We're seeing. I think we saw the rise and fall of Clubhouse. I don't think that has a play when it comes to influencer. I think those are the big ones. Podcast is. I guess maybe it's probably worthwhile quickly talking about podcast as well. When you hear podcast, what do you think?
I mean, we hear podcast in many ways is the original. This is what I would look for when getting into podcasts. One, note similar to the gaming audience, you have average higher household income.
Yeah.
They're sticky, they're evangelistic, they're brand loyal. They're more likely to share your brand, and they're more likely to listen to because it's they're kind of the connector type of personality that loves the podcast space. What you do need to be aware of, though, is almost all podcasts have moved toward a dynamic insertion model. This is great for the reasons that you can track it, you can geo-target, you can be very selective with time of day that your stuff is running. Everything that was kind of like great back in the day about radio actually now applies to podcast as well. Where the downside is it's much easier to skip. The person knows it's coming. It's not native. It is not evergreen, and you're losing something, the endorsement value. Even if it is the host of the podcast that's reading the spot, the way that it's dynamically inserted, it feels more like an ad, and frankly, it's just so much easier to skip. And I would just know what you're getting into. There are a handful of podcast networks that still do native in-content live evergreen. It stays there. It's baked into the content.
Yep, that's the good stuff.
And that's the good stuff. You'll pay more for it. We 100% believe it's worthwhile. For whatever reason, the industry decided to want to go the programmatic route, and they wanted to compete with other programmatic buying instead of saying, no, we're our unique, your own thing. And frankly, it came down to the fact that doing it the old way, doing it the baked-in way, is way more work for the agencies involved. And the agencies involved, which is sad. I mean, but they've pulled huge networks. There are still networks that are doing it the original way. We would encourage you, and it's not to say that the other can't work. Just know that on one you might pay a $50 CPM, and on another I would not pay higher than a $15 CPM. I mean, and they're going to tell you there's no way we can do that. Grind that on price, because that dynamically inserted stuff. Trust me, they've got inventory.
It becomes commoditized really quick.
Grind on that. And hey, the market's changing, and
no bumping,
might not
just grinding.
Okay. Any others that we should talk about?
No, I think I'm lost after getting rejected on the bumping piece.
I pointed yes. I pointed.
No, this is good. I mean, obviously, you've got a big choice in terms of what are your objectives, what are you trying to accomplish. Once those things are clear, it's going to be a little bit more obvious in terms of what are the right platforms for you. Understand those talking points. I think that's really important. YouTube's great in terms of conversion. Instagram's a bit of a Frankenstein, but I would say Instagram and TikTok are both good from a low CPM perspective in a lot of cases, not all. And Twitch, lots of good things happening, but it's still targeted towards gaming, and it's got to be part of a broader strategy. So I think that's the quick summary, down and dirty summary in terms of what you need to know when thinking about what are the right social media platforms for my marketing organization, and to be able to tell my CEO to keep him out of my ear whispering about TikTok and why his daughter loves TikTok.
Indeed. All right, you heard it here. Probably not first, but you heard it here. Thanks for joining us in our ramblings. This is the Influencer Marketing Show, so appropriately named for podcast and YouTube SEO.
Yes.
I'm Joel.
I'm Brad. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.